All right, here we go. Overdrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
I like the jersey, Hazy. You look like you're the president of Alpha Delta, Hazy B.
There you go. I'm trying to spice it up, right? I
You
get
are.
my clothes sent to me. You know how it is. I just
It's a
wear what I'm
spice
told
up
to
that
wear.
I'm aware of, that I like, and you're rocking it well. It's a different vibe. It's a new vibe. It's a new you.
Were you in a frat when you went to college?
No. I don't even think there were frats.
The guy had a
where I was.
casino in his
That's
house.
what I mean. I know, but I just can envision you're part of like Phi Delta Phi or something, bunch of bros. And
Were you approached?
That's not big in Canada. Like, there are some schools that I think have. I've always heard
Western
sororities.
does. Western has to have it.
Western does. My sister was a part of a sorority down there, and I think Western's a big part of it, but I don't know of it anywhere else. Like, that's more of an American thing. I don't really know anyone that was a part of a fraternity, sorority, get outside of my sister, but no, never approached, never heard of one. Like, maybe there was a secret society thing that I could get down with, right? You hear about the Skull and Bones, secret society stuff. That would be kind of cool.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah, you get in on some. You get like a secret meeting every couple of years or whatever, and basically it's just an excuse to take it deep. But no, never approached. Never approached.
I feel like if I went to college, I'd be part of a fraternity, I think.
Yeah.
I would enjoy
Dude,
that.
it's big stuff. Like in the States, like OHL teams are like brothers for life. Those like sorority brothers and sisters, they're like, it's a fam jam. It's a big deal. Like, they take that stuff seriously.
Oh, yeah. Well, and there's like fraternities and sororities, I think, that are scattered throughout the country, right? So, like, you could go to a different city, a different school, and you could walk right in there and have a place to stay.
Different branches.
Or connect with
Different
people.
branches.
Exactly, different branches. But no, that's not a world I'm familiar with. But we heard Taylor Swift coming in. You see Travis Kelce. Man, he's really talking this up. Like, he's not happy people are talking about it publicly, he and T Swift, but he can't wait to talk about it personally. And his brother, Jason's doing radio hits in Philly saying, 100% they're together.
They went on 2 dates. That's what he said. I was listening. He's like, we went on 2 dates. Like, I mean, you're not getting married, buddy.
No.
Like, it just, like, you know, and who knows how those dates unfolded. You know, it just sounds like they're talking, though, which is pretty cool, and I'm happy for him. You know, he's a single guy, good-looking guy. I don't care. I'm not a big Taylor Swift person.
I guarantee you she has said to him, if I hear my name out of your mouth or your brother's mouth one more time, don't even think about it. He was on today with somebody saying.
He's on with McAfee. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Let's play it.
Go ahead. Hear this.
He was on with Pat McAfee on ESPN. Here's Travis Kelce earlier this afternoon.
You hate that it's happening?
No, I mean, it's life, baby. It's life. I threw it out there. I threw the ball in her court. And, I told her, maybe I've seen you rock the stage in Arrowhead. You might have to come see me rock the stage in Arrowhead and see which one's a little more lit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the near future.
Dog. Travis! Hey!
All right now.
All right now! Hey, let's go. Right, we're talking Power Couple. The NFL's in the game. We appreciate the hell out of you. You're the man. Good luck with everything on the field and in the suites.
Yeah.
You're the greatest, ladies and gentlemen. Travis Kelce.
All right, there you go. So, I don't know. I guess he's throwing the ball into her court. Bordering on desperation there, right? Like almost begging her to come to KC. I'll tell you what, if she's going to go to a game, it better not be this weekend because they're playing the Bears at Arrowhead. And Taylor Swift wants nothing to do with the Chicago Bears.
Dude, I don't know what the spread is. Are one of us going to get that game? Because that's 50-0.
Yes.
It's a 4:00 game, and the rest of the games, like the other one is Dallas, Arizona, which is the same thing. It's like a 10.5 or 11.5 point spread. And I think that might be my game. I hate these big spreads. I'm on the clock tonight, Niners-Giants. The spread's 10.5. Like, big double-digit spreads are tough because you can sell yourself both ways. And what I find is I start trying to think like Vegas. Like, what is Vegas trying to make us do here? Are they pushing us towards one team or pushing us towards the other?
Dude, I'm telling you, the way that league works. I'm telling you, the Giants could fly out there and win that game. Straight up. They could straight up win that. Noodles,
Really?
I'm telling you, that's how goofy the NFL is. As soon as you think it's like, oh, they're going out there, and I'm not only saying that because we've been rinsed in the survivor pool, I truly believe the Giants can somehow pull that off and catch San Fran sleeping a little bit and win the game outright. Well, I'm telling you, it could. It's not crazy.
It could happen. Any given Thursday, any given Sunday in the NFL, it is possible. They were a playoff team a year ago. But the Niners, you can make a strong argument, are the best team in football. They dummied Pittsburgh. They basically beat up on the Rams. I know it turned out to be a touchdown game, but
they're good. I know they're good.
Very good. They're at home. It's their home opener. It's a short week. No Saquon Barkley. The Giants have been awful in 3 of the 4 quarters they've played, and the one quarter they played well was against Arizona. Like, I hear what you're saying. It just doesn't seem likely.
Okay, here's one example. One example from last year that Luke Wilson actually sniffed out, and I think he kind of let everyone know. Casey went to a garbage indie team, okay? A garbage indie team and lost.
That's right.
Casey lost to Indy.
I hear you.
Stupid things happen, man. It doesn't happen often when you get a lopsided one like this. But I wouldn't be shocked because there's no way in hell I can stay up for the whole thing. If I wake up tomorrow morning and I see the Giants and my man Danny Dimes victorious.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm warning you.
Well, we'll see about that.
I feel like you guys buried the lead because are you out of your survivor pool already?
No.
Did you guys get rinsed?
No, we're not. We still have multiple teams.
Because I heard O say we got screwed in our survivor pool. I'm like, are you guys out after before. 2 weeks?
No,
we have been in the past, Noodles. We've been out early in the past, believe me. The first one we did, we lost week 3. Actually, remember the Bills? It was Josh Allen was a rookie. It was at Minnesota. Stupid Vikings and stupid Kirk Cousins.
That's why. That guy jams me up more than anything.
That's right. They were like a 14.5-point favorite. It was the layup of the century. We're like, the Bills had been destroyed through 2 games. They had lost by a combined 50 points or something, and they went in there. I'm pretty sure they won outright, not just covering the number. Well, obviously they did because it was a survivor pick. They did win outright. It had nothing to do with the spread. And that was our first introduction. We're like, we're flying week 3, Vikings, Kirk Cousins. See you later. So
that? I'll never forget the text. Just we're done. We're screwed.
We're done.
It was halfway through the game. We're screwed.
Handshake emoji. Before the handshake emoji even existed, we had a handshake emoji. Thumbs down, whatever it was. But all right, Luke Wilson coming up. He'll join us just after 5 o'clock. Steve Phillips later in the hour. All of a sudden, the Jays can't lose. Texas can't lose. Seattle can't lose. Vladdy going for an MRI, though. The results are still not in. We'll track that all day. I'm assuming
they're in.
Schneider.
Is this guy got an MRI from an alien mobile, or you get an MRI, you walk out with the images?
More or less, that is exactly what happens. We just went through it with Scherzer in Toronto. Scherzer had the announcement, within 12 hours, right? Yeah. And that's generally the way it works. Scherzer went for an MRI. He knocked the Canadian out of the line, which I took serious issue with. And Scherzer got his MRI, and he got his results. And you're right. If Vladdy went last night, the results are in. Schneider, Atkins, Shapiro, they know what's up.
Yes.
It has not been revealed yet publicly, and I would have to believe it will be revealed in the next, half an hour, 45 minutes. So we'll keep you up to date on that. But Gausman was great last night. Aaron Boone is a snap show. That ump was awful last night.
Excuse me.
He is horrendous.
We brought up a term last week, and the term was brown liquor drunk. Mm-hmm. That umpire was brown liquor drunk behind the plate. It was just the one in the dirt, and you throw the hand out to the right. It's like, what are you looking at?
It was
and it was time and time again. And I don't blame Boone last night. I think he's a snap show, but that guy was pissed drunk behind the plate.
That was Leslie Nielsen behind the plate.
It was Frank Drebin. It was Frank Drebin behind the plate.
Frank Drebin, he'd strike, and then the crowd would start cheering. Strike 2. It was literally, I was watching. Now, Kirk does a good job of framing it, right? He digs it off he digs it out of the dirt and all of a sudden puts it in the middle. And Lieutenant Drebin behind is handing out the strike. I'm like, that was nonsense. But listen, they were going to win anyways. It didn't matter because the Jays pitching was great.
Yeah, it really was. Gausman pitched really well last night. Michael King was really good for the Yankees, credit to him, but like the Yankees bullpen coming into the season was generally accepted as the best in baseball. And it was incredibly leaky last night.
51 was out with the umpire the night before the game.
Right.
He was throwing balls.
He couldn't throw a strike. And the Jays took advantage. To their credit, they just didn't swing, right? They had the red light basically all through the 7th inning or 8th inning. It was like, just sit there and take pitches. Why not?
Yeah.
That was Frank Driven behind the bench or behind the plate last night. Lance Barrett. And that's Boone's act, right? That's his 7th ejection. That's his way of proving that he still cares, which you have to still care. You still have to put forth the front. But that Yankee team is lifeless. Like, they've got nothing. They're not. They just want the season to be over. Their U-Hauls are packed, right? They're blocking traffic in the Bronx right now with U-Hauls, just saying, get me out of here because it's over. And the Jays, again, have won 5 in a row. Credit to them because they're 5-4 in their last 9. Right? Statistics can fool you, man. You look at statistics, you're like, hey, they've actually won a lot of ball games. Actually, they're 8-4 in their last 12 because they swept the Royals before that Texas series. So if you didn't watch a thing, you'd be like, man, the Jays are really rocking here. You'd have no idea that Rangers series even happened if you simply looked at the standings. And the Jays are a game up on Texas, a game up on Seattle. Both those teams are off today. Seattle at Texas for a 3-game series starting tomorrow night. But obviously Texas and Seattle both hold the tiebreak on the Jays. So it's still going to be dicey moving forward. Jays-Yankees tonight. Garrett Cole on the mound for the Jays. Then off to Tampa tomorrow. He should scare you. But, again, King pitched as well as anyone can pitch last night, and the Jays just kept waiting and eventually got to the bullpen. And
you know what's going to be a curious thing moving forward for the Yankees? And I don't know if it's like just a rough patch, but Giancarlo Stanton has got 4 years left at $28 million per.
That's a buyout. Like the definition.
He has gone 0 for a zillion, and he looks like he's playing beer league baseball up there. He's just.
But
he's hacking
it.
it.
Doesn't he have 20? Doesn't he have 24 home runs though? Like this. It's weird. He either strikes out or knocks it out of the park. That's it.
That's right. He's hitting like 190, dude. That's the Mendoza line. Like this guy's hitting like Manny Lee. Like he can't hit and he can't run. Like they pulled that double play on him a couple of nights ago, which was a phenomenal turn by Bichette and Schneider. But if that's anybody with a pulse, Stanton makes it. Here it was the other night. Watch how slow. Look at how tough that is to turn. And Stanton's out by a mile. Like, he's so slow. He can only play DH the rest of his career, right? You can't put that guy in the outfield.
Dude, he must have got back to the dugout and Boone was like, come on, dude. That's Davis Schneider. He doesn't exactly have a laser beam, and you're tossed out.
Crazy. But
him and Kirk are the only 2 people in the building that get tossed out there.
I think Kirk beats him in a race. I do. Yes, I do.
Now you're talking nonsense.
I do. A 40-yard dash, Stanton versus Kirk. And that's twins, right? Stanton's 6'6" and an Adonis, and Kirk's about 5'3".
It is. That's Arnold and Danny DeVito right there. That's the movie Twins right there.
I think DeVito wins a 40-yard dash. I do. I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think Kirk blows past Stanton. Throw that up as a poll question.
You guys knew where my head was at on Saturday when we had the group text going, and I was watching Alexander Kirk run around the bases and it was nonsense.
Right.
Like that was a double. All three of us could have made that.
That's a triple for some guys in the league. That's a triple. Like if that's
he
Dela
got thrown
Cruz,
out at second.
Yeah, and by a fair amount. And then I think he had the gratuitous slide, didn't he? He's like, I got to make this look good, but I'm out by a mile.
But
I'm out by a mile.
That was nonsense. Yeah.
Throw that up. I'm curious how the general public would feel about that. But anyway, we'll keep you up to date on what's up with Vladdy going into the game tonight. Steve Phillips in about 15 minutes. We got the annual tradition of opening day lines, right, and deep pairings down at Leafs camp today, which that's when you know hockey's back.
First guy on the ice? Did we get the first guy on the ice tweet?
I didn't see who that was.
I didn't see
Master
who it was.
Masters usually puts that out right away. First guy on the ice is John Tavares, or that's it. You're like, okay, great.
It's like a regular, and I usually start my day off with that. Like you just get on the Twitter machine, New York Rangers. Oh, Panarin, first guy on the ice, and then it's just all around the league. You just get a full update. Who's the first guy on the ice?
You're right, but we never got to it yesterday. This Panarin, what the hell did he do?
He's the one who went Messier in New York.
I know. I was shocked. I somehow his name came.
Look at that guy.
That's not Panarin, man. That's a body double. Because he had great flow.
He had an afro. He had an afro.
Yes.
Yeah, he has great hair, but the thing is, look at his hairline. Like he can grow that back in a month. It'll be glowing locks, where other people they give up the dream.
Messier balding. That's like you could see he's got the stubble of a guy that has a bunch of hair.
Right. That's a style. He's making a lifestyle decision here.
Yes, he is.
That's gonna burn. Struddy's coming up. I'll bet you Struddy hates that.
I was just gonna say, do bald people get mad when people with great hair shave their head?
Yes.
That must be like a slap in the face.
Big time.
Unless he did that for
Hayes,
something.
You have to phrase the question like that to Struddy. Panarin shaved his head is the opening statement. Do bald people get offended when someone does that and they don't need to?
Right, by choice.
Right, but you have to say, do bald people get offended? As in, you're asking Struddy.
We need his advice on it.
Yes.
Right. You're representing the bald community.
Can you do me the favor and phrase it like that?
I will do my best. Yes, I can do that for you, because I agree with you. Like Panarin, it was not a situation where it was getting dicey up top. Like this guy's hair, he's had hockey hair since he got here. And it is shocking when someone goes like massive kind of mullet, flow, salad to just bald. Like it's a shocking maneuver when the guy's like, that's what I'm doing. And I guess, I don't know, he's turning over a new leaf. Maybe he didn't feel like he had a great year last year, great playoffs. I don't know. But
there's no guarantee. This is what has always scared me. And believe me, I'm creeping farther and farther, the 4, the 5, 6 head. But you have no idea the shape of your head. Mm-hmm. Like if you went right down to the wood,
it's frightening.
Some people's head is weird shaped and
head
weird look. Yeah, weird looking, or you've got some sort of birthmark you've never seen.
Right. Some people get like the racing helmet head. Like they've got this racing helmet that goes back like a speed race. You know what I mean? Like
I know
a Kirk Harnett head.
It's shaped.
Yes, they got the helmet. It's weird.
Yeah, I have a birthmark
you might
on
have
my head,
fat.
That's the truth.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
That's the thing. You might have like a fat bubble that you didn't know, or something weird. Like it's just like, what is going on here? Like that's why people, you got to be careful. If you take it down to the wood and you don't like what you see, you're going to have to be Andre Agassi for a couple months until you pull it back together.
I almost had a panic attack because I was up at an event about a month ago. And hanging around the fire, it was just a bunch. It was a Molson Coors event up at Muskoka. It was a really cool situation, but cigars were starting to go around. I'm not a cigar guy. Like generally, I haven't had a cigar in a decade. But I was like, all right, went in Rome, and I had a lighter malfunction. It popped on me. I thought I took my eyebrow off. And I was sitting in the dark. Like people were talking. When people are talking to me and you're not paying attention. Like my mind was I'm like, I can't even go inside. I can't look at someone because someone's going to say, whoa, what the hell just happened to you? And I was so afraid to go in to find a mirror because I was terrified. Like I just took my eyebrow off, and I'm Googling around the fire. How long does it take? And it says weeks to grow that back.
A month.
Weeks. A
month.
At least a month for it to grow back. And I was in a dark place for an hour smoking a cigar. It was the worst cigar of my life because I'm like, I just took my eyebrow off and it's gone and I'm toast.
So we haven't seen you for the summer, and the first time it comes onto the camera, you've got no eyebrow. And
that was what it would have been. It was the Friday before Labor Day.
Dude,
it would have been 3 days later.
You would have gone on Amazon and got a fake eyebrow and glued it on your head.
No, you would have drawn. You can draw one in, or you put some black hockey tape. You thin it out. You cut some black hockey tape. And you put it on there.
There's
something
a stick-on eyebrow available.
Right. I would be in on makeup. I'd have to go bother the people at makeup at CTV, TSN, and say, you got to hook me up because I can't walk in here. These guys will never let me live it down. So somehow I survived it. But anyway, we got Steve Phillips coming up. We'll get more into what we saw at Leaf Camp today. The top line, Bertuzzi, Matthews, Marner. What do we make of it? Nylander, Tavares, both playing up the middle of the ice. There's a number of things coming in league-wide, too, in terms of players speaking. Hellebuck in Winnipeg, Lindholm in Calgary. And, the NFL news and notes constantly. I'm just seeing this come in. Adam Schefter saying that the Cowboys believe Trayvon Diggs, superstar corner, suffered a torn ACL during practice today. And he will undergo an MRI per a source. If that's the case, that is a massive loss. That defense has been phenomenal this year, and Diggs is a big part of that. And if he's torn his ACL, he's done. And that's Stephon Diggs' brother. That was his brother who was tweeting about getting him out of Buffalo. It's pretty wild seeing what's happening with those guys. So more on that as we move forward. Luke Wilson will join us. I am on the clock tonight. Hayes and Company. I'll have my pick in about an hour or so. Steve Phillips later this hour. More on the Leafs today. And, of course, Jays Yankees tonight. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. The Jays lineup is out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. not in the lineup tonight. Not necessarily a surprise, but not in the lineup. Schneider should be speaking any moment now. We'll get you an update on Vladdy. Steve Phillips in about 5 minutes. Speaking of injury updates, Darren Dreger sent a tweet out earlier today saying that Patrick Kane is rehabbing his hip injury in the Toronto area. And I found that interesting, and I did a little quote tweet with a little thinking emoji. And immediately, Joe from the Bridge welcomed me into his community of speculation and connecting everyone with the Leafs.
God. No, let me guess what he told you. Let me guess before you say it, okay? He's training here with somebody who Matthews knows, and it's probably going to lead into something. He said that, didn't he?
Well, I think Joe from the Bridge is believing that, yes. I don't think he has a clue who Kane's actually training with or where he actually is. But it is interesting that Kane has been up here since July, I guess. Now, this is one of the hockey hotbeds of the world in terms of trainers, in terms of ice, in terms of rehabbing, all that kind of stuff. But the Kane situation is an interesting one. He'll be 35 in a couple of months. I'm curious if he's willing to sign, and I'm not linking him to Toronto anywhere, a 1-year, league minimum, I'm going to show you I'm back contract with the right situation.
Here's the contract he's going to sign. It's the Teemu Selanne contract, and that was the Justin Williams did it a couple years ago too. I'm not ready to start training camp. You can think what you want about that, but that's just my decision. I'm going to work my ass off, and I'll be ready come trade deadline-ish or February-ish. And if you want to insert me into your lineup at that particular time, I'll be ready to go to try to help somebody down the stretch. That's the contract he's going to sign.
You're right. Here's just off the top of my head, you guys are right. But do you not have to be waived through the league if you sign during the season?
I don't know how that works with a veteran player like that because he's a UFA though, Noodles. So
I know, but I understand that. But I'm pretty sure, I will have to do CBA talk or something. But I think if you're an unrestricted free agent past a certain time and sign, I think you have to be waived through the league. I think Jason Spezza at one point. Remember, he was on waivers. Now, the Leafs had sent him down, and he said if a team's going to grab him, he's not going to report. I wonder if a guy signing during the season, does he require waivers?
I don't have an answer for you. I would assume the 31 other teams would say, we respect Patrick Kane, that we're not going to claim him. Obviously, we're going to allow him to sign where he's going to sign. I don't have that answer. I don't know. But I can't imagine.
I remember didn't it happen to the Leafs with the goalie? They signed that goalie and Arizona grabbed him.
Yes.
Helmut Balderas or whatever his name was.
Right. And he was coming from a different league. But
yeah, he was coming from
I guess that's possible. I don't have an answer for you, Noodles. I can't imagine, Arizona is going to claim Patrick Kane if he signs with Buffalo, or Toronto or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a part of the hiccup. And if it is something that could apply as of December 1st, he'll sign November 30th. He'll sign well before.
Right.
So that they'll avoid that. I'll say this. If it's a cheap deal, I'd be all in on it. If I'm the Leafs, go for it. Sign him. If you feel like he's back to 100%, This is a guy who's won multiple cups, Conn Smythe. I know he's not young, but if the money works and you can fit him in, and it's a depth piece, and basically it's a low risk, high reward situation where you're not giving up assets. Like the Rangers had to pay for him, right? The Rangers had to give up assets to get him at the trade deadline. If you're getting him for free or for $1.1 million, do it. I'd be all in on that.
I'd be doing the same thing with the other guy too.
Jonathan Taves?
Yes. I would be. I would obviously want to have a look at him, maybe on the ice and just his overall, like, if you're not up to it and you're not his health hasn't been great the last couple of years. He's had issues, I believe, from some type of COVID-related thing, or I don't know what it is. I shouldn't say that because I don't know what the issue is, but he hasn't even kind of looked well. Mm-hmm. But if you put eyes on that guy and he looks healthy and kind of back in game shape, and I'd be all over him too. And by the way, people, we're not saying Toronto. We're saying anyone.
Right. And I think if you're a high-end team, I think if you feel like you're competitive, because those guys aren't going to go to a rebuilding team or a team that doesn't have it right now. And again, I don't know what those players would be expecting in terms of money. Like I can't imagine they'd be asking for the world. Taves, I don't know if he's going to play this year, but Kane wants to play and will play. But he's only going to give you likely maybe 40 games of the regular season, if not less than that. You're effectively paying him for the final stretch run and into the playoffs. I would think of, considering how much money he's made in his career, if he puts on a platform performance, he knows he'll get another deal that will make up for the money he might lose this year. I would think he would be open to signing a 1-year low number type deal. I would almost expect that to be the case. And
you can also get a situation, Hazy, where he's like, I'm Patrick Kane, so don't even think about your $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, that could happen.
That's true. He's probably looking at his former team saying, Corey Perry's making $4 million, right? Nick Foligno's making $4 million. I'm going to make $850. That's probably
exactly.
But if you want to go back to Chicago, you might be able to do that. You want to win a Stanley Cup again? That's not going to happen. So more on that into the next hour. Jays, Yankees tonight. Barrios versus Garrett Cole. Jays have won 5 in a row. It's all of a sudden looking pretty good for the Jays. Yet we're waiting to hear news on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Here's Steve Phillips, our TSN MLB analyst. How nervous do you think people are with the Jays? Vladdy's not in the lineup again tonight. He went for an MRI. We haven't heard the result yet, Steve, but he was a late scratch last night.
Yeah, I'm not that nervous about it. I mean, even if there's some meniscus there that's torn, clearly he's been playing with it, and it doesn't seem like there's any acute injury that happened that makes you think that 2 days ago something tweaked and he's not going to be able to play. So, it was something that bothered him, but I'd be surprised if it's an injured list trip, with this. It's not following the pattern that might indicate that, where there was some traumatic play, we saw him limping, and now there's a problem. And he was able to take some batting practice, and it was bothering him. But I don't know. I don't get the sense that anybody's too panicked. Maybe I'll be wrong about it, and this will be something more significant. But my sense is that even if it's some meniscus, you put on a sleeve over your knee, go out there and play with it, and you deal with it at the end of the season.
Steve, can you take us behind the curtain when something like this goes down with the magnitude of the player? I'm sure the general manager is not quite as involved if it's someone of lesser caliber, although you obviously care and have to know what's going on. But you get wind of this, what goes on behind the scenes, the communication chain, and just what goes on as far as him playing, not playing, what happens?
Yeah, so, really what you end up doing is, when there's an injury, what I did is I really let the doctors lead the way. Because they know better than I know. And, they understand that we want him on the field if there's any chance he can play. And that if it's an injury where, you can play at a tolerance where, you may not injure it more, but you're going to have to deal with a little bit of pain, then it comes down to the pain threshold of the player. And certainly players, depending upon where they are in their careers, if they're heading to free agency, if that's a factor, if they've got a contract, all of that comes into play from their perspective. But I think that what you do is, the first thing you get a handle on is it something that he can play with or not, right? They made the decision that it was not something they felt comfortable with him playing. So during the game, they went and got imaging on it. Now, my sense is they knew last night the result of that. I mean, you may want to have your own doctor look at it, but certainly, the Yankees doctors and others might be able to take a look at it and give you some sense as to what's going on, or a radiologist can do that too. But then you start putting things in motion. The fact that we haven't gotten wind that somebody's been called up and that somebody seems to be on the way, or somebody checked into the hotel, where I suspect beat writers would be sort of staking that out a little bit, makes me fairly comfortable again that it's nothing too significant. But, you want to do the right thing and make sure the player's getting the treatment and awareness of what's going on. The agent will certainly get involved and call and want to get, the update. So, not just the player hearing it, but the agent, so that they can have an educated conversation around it too. And you may have the player and the agent and the front office all talk together too, to make sure that, look, we care about the players as a general manager. You want to make sure they get the proper care, and the problem for the Jays is they really need this guy, and he wants to play. So if there's any way he's going to be able to play, he's going to get out there and try to grind through it and get out. The good thing is he missed yesterday. They won the game, but they really can't afford short-term or longer-term for the rest of the playoffs to be without Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Well, and I also wonder how it affects, the lineup on a daily basis where, Vladdy obviously plays first, but if he's going to possibly DH, what does that mean for Bichette? Bo's banged up too, and I think the plan has been every 4 or 5 games probably slide him in at DH and give him a day off. That might complicate things too here, right? Steve, if you get Vladdy banged up, Bo's banged up, Chapman's banged up, how do they handle the one DH spot moving forward?
Yeah, so it could be that they're alternating time at DH and in the field, and you've got to mix and match with it. It gets even more complicated if Brandon Belt's back starts to feel better. Mm-hmm. You can get him back into the mix too, because you really want that left-handed bat in the lineup. In his on-base percentage, his ability to drive the ball in the gap, the quality of at bats, how he works over the pitcher, and so there's a lot of moving pieces to it, and you may go into certain games without your fully armed offense, having to mix and match. Ideally, if you're going to do anything, ham and egg, Bichette and Guerrero at first and short and DH, and move them around a little bit and spell them and make sure you're protecting them. But somebody might have to play a little bit hurt, and you're going to have to accept that they may not run as fast as we thought. They may not run out ground balls as much as you might like, but it's still better having them in the lineup than not having them in the lineup. You're going to have to manage them in-game even a little bit differently as well.
Steve, last night, what was going on behind the plate was outrageous with some of the calls. I mean, the catchers were digging it out of the dirt, and that guy's hand was signaling strike, and it was something to see. And I know what happens in the NHL. Like, general managers freak out. They're on the horn with the league. They're on the horn with supervisors. Like, what can you possibly do about it? I know Boone freaked out. He got ejected, but I thought that was unacceptable, man. Like, who the hell wants to deal with that nonsense?
Yeah, especially when you're the team going to the playoffs. And it always drove me crazy. And I remember calling at the time Sandy Alderson was, and here's the thing, Lance Barrett is a veteran umpire. It's not like they put a rookie back there. I remember, we were playing the Dodgers one year, and they had a rookie umpire behind the plate. We're fighting for a playoff spot. Dodgers are fighting for a playoff spot. This rookie umpire is missing calls behind the plate. And I called up and I said, listen, I get it that young umpires need opportunities. Put them on the Royals and Angels game where neither team's a playoff team. He said, well, where else are they going to learn? I said, right, they're going to learn in the games that don't mean something. But you can't put inexperienced umpires in when you put together a team that's fighting for the playoffs and you played 148 games, you got 14 games left in the season, you're grinding up the blood, sweat, and tears it takes to get there. I feel like is at times disrespected when they put rookie umpires behind the plate in critical games. Like, let them learn somewhere else. Now, Lance Barrett is, he's been around. And I think in the end, all I know is every time there are issues like this, we're one step closer to the automated strike zone, which I cannot wait for. I think it's going to change the game. When we think about instant replay or reviews, right, of what we've done, think about all of the plays that have been overturned so far since we've gone to the review system. Thousands of them. Think about how different the history of baseball might be if actually in the past calls had been right instead of wrong, where we just had to live with them with no chance to overturn them. Playoffs might have been different. Championships might have been different. You know, contracts might have been different. Jobs could have been saved. And so I'm all for getting it right, and I want whatever the outcome on the field is, the real outcome, to be the true outcome of the game, even if it means that I lose because somebody got the computer got it right instead of somebody getting it wrong in my favor. I'd rather lose to at least let me know that the right call is being made on the field. And I think whenever we see this, it just will increase the screaming for those that want the automated strike zone.
Steve, we see the Yankees and the Red Sox at the bottom of the standings. Who do you have more faith in that they could turn it around quicker? Because we were talking before you came on that Yankee team looks lifeless. And a guy like Stanton, we were debating whether him or Alejandro Kirk would win a foot race based on the way that he's moving right now.
Yeah, I would say that both of them, their speed's deceiving. They're both slower than they look. And so, I think I actually think Kirk might win the race, which is amazing. Stanton's 2 for his last 39, hitting 188. Oof. He's got a 670 OPS. He's got 4 years left on his contract. And yet I would give the Yankees a better chance of turning it around than the Red Sox. Because I do think the Jason Dominguez kid is a star. I think Michael King, who threw yesterday for them, is a really good-looking pitcher, and he'll be in that rotation next year. They've got Volpe at shortstop. They've got some young guys, and they'll have more resources and an owner who's not willing to accept, he at some point is going to have to step up like his father and spend some money and maybe even eat Stanton's contract and move on. On the other side of it, the Red Sox, they brought in Hein Bloom from Tampa Bay, and it was almost like they wanted to practice money ball with money, but always hedge their bet. Kind of like what the Giants do, where they get a lot of platoons and try to mix and match and find the matchup and try to win games. And it just doesn't seem to me there's the same commitment to winning in Boston as there is with the Yankees. And so I do think the Yankees will have a chance to turn it around more quickly. It's the first time since 1965 that the Yankees and Red Sox have been the two teams at the bottom of the division.
Steve, there was some news that came out today regarding Alek Manoah, and the news was that he had some injections in his shoulder, and when I read it, it just seemed weird to me. Like, it almost seemed like it wasn't true. It was just like, well, just say that, and that's the end of the season for him. What do you make of that report?
So it's nothing seemed to really make sense with him when the whole story came out. And my experience is when something doesn't make sense, we don't know the whole story. And then when we heard the medical, remember, he stayed behind to get the medical stuff done, and they were checking him out and everything else. And so, there are times when a player has, injuries that may not be debilitating enough for him not to be able to perform. But when you have 4 or 5 different things that are bothering you, they can all add up to where you can't really be the same player that you were. And so, we knew there were tests being done. It seemed to me that there's some physical issue that is being debated right now with it. So I'm not surprised, by the way, that they're saying that he had some injections or whatever else he had going on. I think now the team and the player have to get on the same page. They acknowledged that he had some testing done initially, and it sounded like they were in favor of it and coordinating it. And then the next thing it sounded like was he didn't report to AAA and what's going on. And so there seemed to be some conflict, which just didn't make sense. And so, I think they're sorting things out between the player and the team. And I wouldn't be surprised at some point if there's some story around the health of Manoah that has been the issue here at hand as to why he didn't report and why he's not really able to pitch.
Well, we'll leave it there, Steve. Big one tonight in the Bronx, and then the Jays are off to the Trop playing the Rays, so it's going to be a fun ride down the stretch here. We'll do it again early next week. Thank you, buddy.
Terrific, guys. You got it. Thanks.
Steve Phillips, our TSN MLB analyst. Yeah, that Manoah story will keep coming. And as for Vladdy and the MRI results, we'll find out. As Steve said, they have them. They have access to it. They know what it is. Right. And more than likely, if it was something major, they probably would have issued a statement by now and said, he's going on the IL, season's over, whatever. That doesn't seem likely, but John Schneider should be speaking with the media soon. So keep you updated on that. Luke Wilson will be joining us in about 15 minutes. We've got an update on Brandon Ayuk. He is out of the game tonight, not expected to play for the Niners, but that spread is massive. So Niners-Giants will tee that up. We're going to do a number of things with Luke. And back into day one of camp for the Leafs as well as they hit the ice today. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Luke Wilson in about 10 minutes. Week 3 of the NFL starting tonight. Niners home opener against the Giants. And the Leafs were on the ice today. And, every team league-wide is now on the ice, right? And the players that have maybe been avoiding the media are now speaking with the media. William Nylander spoke today. He reiterated his love for the team, the city, wants to be here long-term, and basically said that'll be it. And the way Willie operates, I believe that. I don't think Willie's going to show up in a week and say, actually, I'd like to comment further. Willie's not going to do it.
What do you mean
it's
that's going to be it? Did he say that's it for that
For
question?
him talking about it. Like him, they can ask him. You can't stop the media from asking him.
Oh, you could say it. You could say, I'm going to address this now, and then for the rest of the year, I will not comment on that particular subject. You're allowed to say that.
Yeah, and
you're
that's
allowed
exactly
to,
what
but
he said.
but people can still ask.
Sure.
Like, that's the thing. Like you just be like, no comment. But it's he could set the parameters. Guy hasn't signed an extension, so people.
I think
are
you're a
want to know.
turkey if you ask again. Like if he says, I'm not addressing it, and you ask again, I think you're a turkey for doing that.
I think what might happen is new media comes in, right? Like if someone wasn't there today, hey, I'm doing a story on it. Can I ask you again? And I think it's wise for Willie for the first week or two, if need be. Hey, guys, just to reiterate this. But no one's going to be asking him in 2 weeks. Like there's no point. There's no update. Nothing changes. And that's kind of what I took out of the last couple of days. There was news on Willie, obviously, that he's going to start camp in the middle of the ice, and they're going to give him a legitimate run at that.
When it circles back, or when somebody would be enticed to do it, is when he has a big night and he's the first star, and then it's all about Willie, and someone's just like, oh, so what do you think about? You think it helps the contract, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is possible, but hopefully it doesn't.
For me, happen. The thing is though. At some point, don't you think it'll get leaked what he's asking for? Like that's the thing. Like, I know that companies and I know organizations don't want to negotiate in public, but obviously I don't know if they've spoken or not. I'm not privy to that information, but they don't have a contract in place. So I don't know if that's the team or I don't know if that's the player or a combination of both, but at some point, it's like, okay, well, this guy's asking for this. This is why we're here. Or, they're only offering that. That's why we're there.
Right. And that's out there because it has been – the Leafs have been public. Brad Treliving said on the record, like, next thing, sign him Willie. We want to sign Willie. And Willie has come out on the record saying, I want to stay in Toronto. So that's the case. Then there has to be some sort of negotiation. What the details are, I guess, are behind closed doors at this point. And who knows if they will leak up. The Leafs have done a pretty good job of keeping stuff in-house when they want to. Right? When they don't want to, when it gets a little bit acrimonious or they're starting to get rattled, that's when numbers might leak. But at this point, I don't think there's any reason to believe that will happen. Can't imagine the Nylander camp will leak unless they're responding to a report that they find is erroneous. But Willie, came in and just said, want to be here. You look at Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Hellebuck played the I want to win a cup card, which is really not what you want to hear in Winnipeg because it's basically a cop-out. It's do you want to stay in Winnipeg? Want to win a cup? Do you like Winnipeg? Want to win a cup? Do you like your coach? Want to win? It's just like, okay. Basically, there's nothing you can take out of that. And unless they either win a cup or get to a cup final, he can interpret that as, sorry, guys, I left not because of Winnipeg. Not because of nothing to do with Winnipeg, nothing to do with the Jets, but couldn't win a cup here. So
I gotta hear that. He just said, "I want to win a cup" to every question.
Effectively, his answer was, "I'm going to win a cup," which I found bold and I kind of like, and that's my plan. So I'm not closing doors, but I'm here to win a cup. I'm winning a cup.
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Okay, we'll find that for later.
All right,
I thought his comments were more, like you say, bold. Lindholm's in Calgary were not.
That was not good. That was ice.
No,
I want that too. I want that.
We'll find that.
I want that
a little bit more icy. Like those are just business-like. It's like, hey, they know where I'm standing. Kind of thing. It was business-like, but not.
I will go Horatio Kane on both of those two gentlemen and tell you what the real meaning behind their sentiments were.
All right. Grappler, JP, Joe from the Bridge, homework. We will get. I'm sure we already have them in the system. I should probably know that. But we'll get the Hellebuck. I just read the transcripts because you're right. Lindholm was getting snippy. Like, basically, they know what I want. It's like, whoa. All right, what does that mean? Like, that sounded to me like I've told them I'm not taking a penny less than this, so go talk to Craig Conroy.
Or maybe he said, I want to trade, and they haven't made that happen either.
I guess that's possible, too. But it was icy. Lindholm was icy. Hellebuck played the cup card, which is so – how do you respond to that in Winnipeg? They haven't won a cup ever.
But it's not like he's Dubois. This guy's put his time in. If he wants to leave Winnipeg, it's up to him. Like, he's put his time in.
For sure.
You know?
For sure.
And if he has that tone and he doesn't get moved, like, it gets worse and worse as the year goes on. Trust me, I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it.
Right.
It gets ugly, man.
He is honoring his contract. I'm not saying he's going to be an issue there. I think he plays extremely well. He's a great goalie. But it wasn't I just want to stay in Winnipeg. It wasn't a mea culpa like Stamkos, where he's like, I'm dying to stay here, please. Willie, I believe, really wants to stay here. I didn't read that from Hellebuck or Lindholm, quite frankly. Hour 2 coming up. Luke Wilson will join us. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.